My name is Allie Powers. I am 22 years old and I was diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer when I was 20. So Chasing Life was a show that when I first was diagnosed, I'd gone through treatment for 9 months, not knowing that there was any young adults get cancer. Sure, I was a young adult who got cancer, but I was completely alone, not knowing anyone else who was like me. And I was diagnosed with colon cancer, which is an old man's cancer, so everyone there is at least 20 years older than me, if not more. And so it was really hard for me to relate to anyone in my hospital just because they're so much older than I am. I go to an adult hospital and they don't really cater to young adults or the needs of young adults or anything to that extent. So I went through treatment completely alone until I saw an advertisement for Chasing Life, and that was the first time I saw somebody else who was exactly like me. When she said, "Hi, my name's April Carver, I'm 24 years old and I had cancer," that statement just meant so much that just stuck, because that was exactly who I was. And I was just like her. I didn't even know people like me get cancer. So she was the very first person that I knew who had cancer, and she was just a fiction. She was just a fictional character, and she was my very first cancer friend. And it wasn't until after I was done with treatment and in remission for the first time that I actually found out about other young adults who get cancer who are just like me. And it's really nice to have that support system, even if it is just from a TV show or just a character who's on your favorite TV show. It's nice to know that I'm not alone and that I don't need to fight cancer alone. And in our generation, there's a giant demographic of young adults who have cancer, and most people don't realize how big the demographic actually is, because it's a demographic that's not talked about. It's when most people think of cancer, they think of either childhood cancer or they think of an adult cancer, adult geriatric old people cancer. They don't think about somebody in their 20s or somebody in their 30s getting cancer. It's just not a thing for most people who think about 20 to 30-year-olds. It's a demographic that's most forgotten about and that people don't understand, and they also don't realize how to communicate to this demographic. And this is why Chasing Life is such an important aspect to our demographic, is because it's not only fighting for us, it's sharing our stories, it's sharing our voices, saying, hey, there are people out there who get cancer when they're 20. There's people out there who get cancer when they're 30. It's a thing. And our voices need to be heard too, to make it's a normal thing. It's not something we've asked for. It's just something that happens. And most people don't know how to relate or talk to people who have cancer, and Chasing Life has changed that. Chasing Life has brought a way of communicating to people who don't have cancer about what it's like to have cancer. People ask me all the time, they're like, so what are you doing with your life? And they expect me to say I'm in school or I have a job, and because that's normal young adult answers, but then they don't expect me to say, oh yeah, I have cancer and I'm just in the hospital fighting all the time. And then it's not something they expect to hear, because most people don't realize that young adults do get cancer. It needs to be talked about. Most people don't talk about it, most people don't know about it, but Chasing Life is that one thing that's kind of our beacon of hope that shows that young adults get cancer too, and it's perfectly normal for somebody to say, no, I don't have a job, no, I'm not in school, but I'm fighting cancer.
Vanessa Hood. I am 28. I was diagnosed at 25, and I was diagnosed with Philadelphia positive acute lymphoblastic leukemia. Chasing Life impacts the young adult community by spreading awareness, showing the young adults can have cancer and does get cancer. It's not a recognized group. It's very overlooked. If there's a lot of focus on children and older adults, there's no research. Statistically, they don't know what to do with us. So this show impacts us and society by raising more awareness. Chasing Life is important because there are a lot of young adults that I've been meeting with cancer, and not a lot of people know about it. So having this advocacy through ABC Family is one of a kind, and it needs to continue because the research, the awareness, the advocacy needs to continue for our group, because they don't know what our survivorship will be like. And if someone can turn on TV and see this show and be willing to get involved in one way or another, it's impactful and it's important.
My name is Destiny Himmel, and I'm 23 years old, but at age 16 I was diagnosed with acute lymphoblastic leukemia. I love chasing life. Atalia Ritchie is the greatest. I love that it's really just bringing this awareness for young adults with cancer, because we are the most underrepresented age group within the cancer community. The kids have something and the older ones have something, but we're just kind of beginning our lives and already in this confusing period where we're trying to figure things out, and then having cancer thrown at us at the same time. It's like, what do we do then? And so this is just a really interesting and much more common thing that is happening in life that not a lot of people are talking about. And this show is finally bringing that to light, and that's what I love, that we're finally getting awareness for this. A lot of people aren't even aware of these issues, and it's creating awareness through with an entertainment value. You know, people love ABC Family, and they love the shows, and they love the different dynamics and issues that are going into it. And this is something like they've never done before. So I love that Chasing Life is bringing awareness to people who may not have become aware of this if, you know, they hadn't heard of the show. Because in my case, of course I've heard of it because I was thrown into it. I was one of the not so fortunate ones who had cancer when I was young and was very lost and confused during this difficult time in my life. And I also like that Chasing Life is so real about the situations. Like, it's really not just a cookie cutter kind of TV show where it's just, you know, the girl gets cancer, she's getting sick, but it's not realistic. This is actually a show that's bringing realism to it, and that's what I love, because we don't want this glamorized. We want the truth, and we need people to know that these are real issues, and that's what's really happening right now, and we need to bring awareness and raise funds and just keep trying to find a cure for this. Personally, I think that just the overall idea of the show of Chasing Life means hope. I mean, it's giving us a chance to have our voices heard. It's giving us a platform to actually have this issue brought up and make people aware. And for me, that's everything. My life has totally been turned around since my diagnosis, and my outlook has completely changed. I appreciate the little things in life, and I love and care so much deeper than I did before, and I never take a single day or a single breath for granted, because now I know all too well how easily and fast that can be taken away from somebody. So for me, it's hope that we can get the word out there, that we can maybe get people thinking about it, get more funding, get more research, get people thinking, hey, this is a real issue that needs some attention and needs help. And maybe that by Chasing Life creating this show, it can bring that cancer community the help that it really needs.
I'm Sarah Luscano, I'm 20, and I had AML leukemia, acute myeloid leukemia. I absolutely adore Chasing Life. I think it gives us a lot of support, and just the fact that it's just so real, and it's
how everything really happens to a cancer patient, how I can relate to her, how I watch it and it reminds me of things that I went through. I think the fact that it's in the show she has the same diagnosis as I do, it just means everything. It just means that there's more of me out there. Like, I felt like I don't know a lot of people with my same diagnosis, and like every time I meet someone, it's like, whoa, like there's more of me out there. There's more of what I went through out there. There's more of same treatments. There's more of everything that I didn't think that so many people would get sick, and like that cancer was out there as others are, that they're not so common. It just opens everyone's eyes. A lot of people don't realize that the cancer community is real, that young adults get cancer, that kids get cancer, that cancer is real, that it's no joke, that today you're fine, the next day you get sick, and the day after you can just not be here anymore. So it's just the realization of knowing that it is there, that you have to like help as much as you can to like put it out there, to just give awareness, to just put it out there and everyone know that it is there, and that you have to help, and that you have to do the best you can to be here.
My name is Katerina, and I didn't have cancer, but I had a blood disorder called thalassemia. I say it helps them because of the age that April is. It kind of makes you like realize that it doesn't only just happen to little kids, it also happens to adults, and she was in a really big part of her life at that point when she got diagnosed, and she kind of proved that no matter how sick she was or how crappy she felt, she still kept on with her work and still kept on with her relationships, and showed people that no matter what comes her way, she will battle it and she will get through it no matter what. A lot of people have a hard time understanding what cancer patients go through, and kind of watching life helps people understand what it's like to go through it. Although it's not actually living it, it's kind of like an idea of the medications and how you feel, and the things that you realize and all that. Chasing life is important because it shows people that no matter what is going on in your life, you can get through it. Like, no matter what obstacle comes your way, whether it's cancer or something terrible, you can still get through it. You can still live your life. You can still chase your dreams and all that. It really helps people see what it's like to have cancer and what it's like to live with cancer, and kind of helps people understand, like, if they have friends with cancer, what they went through, so they can kind of be there for them. So I think out of all the shows on ABC Family, that one is, a really good one to open up people's eyes.
My name is Katerina Zufeld. I am 25. I was diagnosed with stage 3C ovarian cancer when I was 22 years old. Chasing life is amazing to me because it's like bringing a part of cancer camp home to me. So it's like bringing friends and somebody that understands home, and it's really, really meaningful. It helps me feel like I can relate and I can explain how I feel to my friends and to others. As a young adult with cancer, the show I think is incredibly well done. Every single situation that April goes through, I've been able to relate to almost exactly. I think it is the most realistic cancer show or movie that I have ever seen, and it's really, really well done, and I relate to it really well. Chasing Life helps the young adult cancer community the most that anything ever has before. It puts the young adult cancer community in a spotlight as a community that really needs to be paid attention to, because that's something that's overlooked and we don't get a lot of resources and help, and that's, as young adults, we face challenges and things in life that nobody else can really relate to, and Chasing Life kind of brings that into the spotlight and helps people understand and helps give us something to look forward to.